Welcome everybody, this is the third battle of our campaign in Tales of War. I'm playing blue and I'm the attacker. Let's shuffle the deck to see what the objective card is. One or many. So in this battle, the first player to eliminate 5 enemy units or the enemy hero wins. There are 3 terrains in this battle and I'm placing mine first. Those of you who've played Tales of War already, and by the way, if you haven't, it's free and it's on Tabletopia. Those of you know that the actual battle in this game starts way before you even deploy your first unit. It all starts from the terrain deployment phase. By placing terrain tiles strategically, you can make it much more difficult for your opponent to win. You can also make it much more difficult for yourself to win if you place them wrong. The battlefield is ready. Now it's time for us to assemble our armies. So, in each battle, each player chooses 7 core units, a hero, and up to 3 special units, provided they have their cards. Our opponent has got a special unit of dwarves with spears and shields. Dwarves are immune to magic, and because they've got shields, they cannot be frontally assaulted by archers. We've got the giant and the cross of eternity. Now, the giant is terrifying. He's a terrifying creature, so he cannot be frontally assaulted by any other unit in the game except for the paladin. We also have the cross of eternity. If we win this battle, we win the whole campaign. So we need to be extra careful here. Unit deployment works in exactly the same way as terrain deployment, which means the attacker first places 1 unit and then players alternate placing 2 until there are no more units left. There's quite a lot of forest tiles on the left side of the battlefield. There are 3. Now, they are places of strategic importance. You can hide your units there, and if your unit is on a forest tile and the enemy unit is outside the tile, the enemy unit cannot attack yours. What they can do, however, is they can set it on fire or freeze it, right? So forests can be set on fire by catapults. It costs the player who does it 1 fire tile. Or forests can be frozen by spellcasters, so by the archmages and also by the sorceresses. Our army in this battle is led by the paladin. The paladin's difficult to kill because of his shield that protects him against all flat-ranged attacks from the front and magic. Let's see, alright, so the enemy has got the ranger. Okay, so our shield will protect us against the attacks from the attacks of the ranger. And the battle, as you can see, has already begun. The combat in Tales of War is very simple. Units are divided into melee and ranged. You can tell by the numbers at the bottom of each tile. The first number describes the unit's movement point. For example, the unit of swordsman I've just moved has 2. Moving 1 square forward or turning 45 degrees costs 1 movement point. Unused movement points do not accumulate. The second number is unit's range. As you can see, our swordsmen have the range of 0. This means they are a melee unit. if your melee unit moves onto the tile occupied by the enemy is automatically eliminated. Some units, however, for example the cavalry, cannot frontally assault the units of spearmen. There are also some other exceptions from this rule that make the game interesting. For example, the spearman and the giant. You see, giants hate spears, they don't like them, and they cannot frontally charge any unit equipped with spears. Coming back to our battle, we remember that the first player who eliminates 5 enemy units or kills the enemy hero will be the winner. And my strategy in this battle is to drag the enemy in, is to pull in the forces from the center of the battlefield, expose the hero, and then attack with the cavalry on my right flank. It's an ambitious plan, I have to admit. The enemy ranger is really well guarded by the units of spearmen on both flanks. Giants are weak to spears, so my giant cannot frontally assault the unit of spearmen right in front of him. By the way, an excellent move by the red player. His unit of spearmen can potentially reach 3 of my units, and they aren't really ready for hand-to-hand combat. They're really fragile or slow. The catapults only have the movement of 1. So my giant takes the cavalry, and the red spearmen take my archers, and my catapult moves forward. Now another catapult is in danger, and there's no way I can escape it with the movement of 1, so I decided to move my swordsmen instead. Their shields protect them from all frontal ranged attacks from the archers. So the red player takes my catapult. That's 2-1 for the red player. So the unit of spearmen that managed to get behind my lines is now threatening my paladin, so he had to escape from the forest. And also, I can't attack the red spearman with my own spearman because, well, the enemy is in the forest. This does not look good. The paladin is in danger again, and he is not really well protected out in the open, so that's not a good place for him to be. Again, a very good move by my opponent. If I lose the paladin, I lose the battle. So here the enemy takes my swordsman. I can't really attack him because my giant would be eliminated by the spearman, so I decided to move the cavalry instead. Okay, the ranger is starting to escape. It's 3-1. Now my cavalry is in range, but I decided to attack with my cavalry instead of moving out of the line. So it's 4-2 for my opponent. The enemy sets the forest on fire with his catapult, and then I turned my own. I can't take his archers because there's a unit of spearmen who are protecting their back. The paladin does not want to be charged, so he turns. And he wants to attack. Now the giant is in danger. And sadly, there is no escape for the giant. And what's even worse is that he's a special unit that I will now lose. So it's a checkmate, unfortunately. I can't move forward, I can't turn and then move forward now because there's the ranger, and yeah, gosh, there's nothing I can do. So yes, that's it. I've lost. But what a move that was. I really love that trap. You know, it's just wonderful. But yes, 5-2. So now, first, my giant, because he was killed, obviously, he goes back to the reward pile. My opponent draws 2 reward cards and chooses one. Let's see what the cards will be. Okay, that's a skill for the ranger and the hydra. So +1 range and the hydra, right? So my opponent chose the hydra. Okay, now my turn. What is it? It's ice sorceresses. Okay, there. Very pretty and useful. So the Cross of Eternity goes to my opponent, and yes, and the objective card comes back to the deck. It will be reshuffled at the beginning of our next battle. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. See you soon.